God body is simple. It means you see God when you look in the mirror, and that the body of man is God, and that there's no mystery God in the sky. You are God.
Here we go. Hey guys, what's happening? I got a special guest star on today. My man has been on over 100 covers of fitness magazines. He's a writer, photographer, avid fitness enthusiast, been in the game for a long time. Let's hear it for OG Frank Sepe.
Just make
Woo! I don't got to plug in our audience. I need that to plug it in, but I got you though. Thank you. Thanks for coming on, bro. I appreciate it.
100%, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and you are my first guest on since my injury, since I ruptured my patella tendon. So definitely thanks a lot for coming on. Appreciate the support that you gave me immediately, man. You're one of the first people, and we don't even know each other that well, but I just wanted to say thank you for coming on. You immediately hit me up like, what can I do? You know, stay up. And so I really appreciate the encouragement and support, bro. Thank you so much.
You know what? Everyone is always killing it on Instagram. Like everyone's like, you know, got the fake Rolex and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I read that. It's like, that's real. You know what I mean? Like, you were real. I'm like, you're a good guy. You know, we don't know each other that well, but I was like, let me see what I could do. The least I could do is a couple of posts, couple of big names picked it up too. We're going to do some donations and we'll do some more stuff because look, life is ups and downs, man. You know it. It's like,
yeah.
I always used to say to my friend, I said, we're one move away from a financial crisis. And then I got divorced.
Well, I just got divorced too. So I'm dealing with it. I was already dealing with the financial crisis, but we're going to get into your shit quickly. But quickly for you guys, what happened to me, because I have not gone on a podcast since. I've been here since I've been in the Netherlands. I've jumped out here since Christmas Eve. I came out here to push my corporate training company. So I assembled this all-star corporate training slew of professionals like the A-team, from blood work analysis to mindset motivation to breath training to everything on my dime. I've been out here since Christmas, putting this team together. Everything was going great. You can only stay in the Netherlands for 90 days, right? Before you have to get a work permit. So the work permit is a whole lawyer. You got to pay accountant. You have to have a certain amount of money in the bank account. You got to pay all these fees. Then you get your work permit for 2 years. Right about as I'm using all my money to get this A-team together, right as I'm about to pay for the work permit, boom, a regular squat day, I ruptured my patella tendon. I hit it with my insurance. They're like, yo, this only covers partial. I had to use the rest of my money to pay for the medical. So that put me in a crisis to get the work permit. And I can't bill anybody here until I get the work permit, because you cannot work here. You cannot invoice anybody. You can't do any billing or anything. So I found myself in the middle of a financial crisis within the.
Don't get too high, don't get too low.
So I was just like, oh man. So, and I just want to thank all of the viewers out there and everybody for coming to my aid. I had no option but to open a GoFundMe, because it's either I got the money to keep on going, or I had to go home with nothing and rehab and not be able to work because my leg is out.
And how you got to pay to get home too.
Yeah, and you got to pay to get home. Well, I got some miles. I got some miles, thanks God. I can get home. But thank you to all the viewers. Thank you, Frank, because really, man, the outpouring of encouragement and and there's a lot of shame that comes with asking for help, because I've never been in this situation before, and everybody just was like, hey, just like you, stuff happens. Roll with it. It was real. So before I even get started, I appreciate it so much.
Look,
so
that resonated with me, because I remember being in a 6,000 square foot house with a bar and a pool. And now, so much now. So you were like speaking to me. I'm like, wow,
Yeah, it happens, man, and it happens before, it happens before your eye. Most people, like you said, are 2-3 paychecks from being homeless, man. So never be afraid, guys, to ask for help, and never be afraid to reach out, because sometimes it's the shame and the fear that puts you in even a deeper situation. So, you know, I just was like, you know, if I was coaching somebody, what would I tell them to do? And I just try to do exactly that. So let's talk about your career, bro. The 100 magazines. How did you get started, man?
Wow, man. I started 13 years old. I started lifting
Wow.
weights. My father was a narcotics detective in the NYPD. We grew up in Queens. They used to call him Tom the Arm. Little Italian guy, hairy, big arms.
Mhm.
I used to watch him top of the basement steps in my dungeon basement in Queens, and he used to do benches on like a 1955 bench press, and I used to watch him, and then I used to emulate him, so I got into that. And every year I'd get something for Christmas. I'd get a bench or a dumbbell, and I worked out for like 3 hours every night, waiting for that Flex magazine to come out, waiting for that Muscle and Fitness, putting posters on my wall, Lee Haney, all the greats.
Right.
And then I went to a bodybuilding show and got hooked up as a model. So
Wow.
I started modeling, and I started getting in shape for modeling. And in the first show, the Eastern USA, there was 8 weeks away, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to jump into this. And everyone was like, you should do a novice show, and then you should do. I'm like, no. I'm going to jump into this Eastern USA. They're like, you got 8 weeks. I'm like, yeah, I know. 8 weeks.
Wow.
The show. Then I got another couple of modeling jobs the next year, and I had actually 18 weeks to get ready for the next show, the New York Mets. I won that show. And then I took a full year, almost a full year for the third show. I have to be North American. And then after that, I was 5th in the world in that one. And then I was done. But that's how I got into bodybuilding and modeling. And once I stopped bodybuilding, I started doing all these magazine covers, and I started doing all the books. And then, you know, Mark, everyone's a hater. Like, I was on the cover of Encyclopedia Bodybuilding, like a giant picture. There's a tiny.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Of Dorian Yates. 5 times. So I was like, you know, I think it was on a couple of 100 magazine covers, because once they shoot one, then they sell them all to international. So I'd go to Spain or Italy, and I'd see like all these Le Monde du Muscle and Sports Salinas. And every time I did a magazine, I asked if I could write. And they said, yeah.
Oh.
I started writing, and then before you know it, I had like 1,000 articles, and then I just came up with a book, which was a bestseller. Then I wrote 8 more books, yeah, I mean, that's how and then I started doing infomercials, and then training like celebrities and training all the people, and then got in the back. I was director of media, president of NPC IFBB websites. Now I'm director of media development for Olympia, Muscle and Fitness, Flex, Muscle and Fitness, hers. And I have like a whole bunch of entrepreneurial stuff. I have a bar coming out. I have apps for training. I have over 3,000 online clients. There's like a lot of stuff going on right now. Like, I couldn't do stuff for like 7 years because I had a non-compete clause.
Okay.
I did Home Shopping Network. I had my own brand. So I was always in the fitness, doing something in the fitness industry, whether it was I was editor-in-chief of 4 magazines for Nature's Bounty, custom magazines. I worked for Metrics for 20 years. I was director of marketing, the Metrics magazine. It's like, I have a whole bunch. I don't want to bore everybody, but I did it.
No, it's good because and it's definitely inspiring. And I'm sure a lot of people just listening to this are like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, because I remember you from the Muscle Mags, man.
Yeah.
Back then, yeah, you were always on the cover of the Muscle and the Metrics.
Yeah, it was funny when Metrics they had a magazine, and I was at the time my book came out, they're like, would you run the magazine? So I started running the magazine, and it was like WWE, NFL, it was like a little bit of everything. And we were billing out all this money, Mark, to these photographers. And I was like, damn, at the end of the day,
getting
paid. So I was like, so I rented out this spot in the city. The photographer, he had a bunch of stalls, and he had top photographers in all these stalls renting the spot out. And I'd walk by, take a shot with my cell phone to see what their lighting was. And then I would duplicate their lighting. So I started doing photo shoots for the magazines. And I mean, then people started soliciting me. I started shooting campaigns. I was like, I never solicited before. I shot like a ton of celebrities, athletes. I shot ads for the UFC.
Wow, crazy.
How
did you develop your writing skills?
For Vibe magazine. You know what? I had a column in Muscle Mag for 12 years. People used to write in, and they used to write in stuff and questions, and I'd answer them. And then I would just keep reading the magazines. And then when I started to write this book, well, long story short, the editor-in-chief of Time People Español magazine, Richard Perez Feria, he was a good friend of mine, really bright guy. He was like, you should write a book. I'm like, I could write columns and articles, but I don't know if I could write a book. He's like, no, you could do it. So we put together this whole proposal, went out to sell it, got a crazy amount of money for it. 3-book deal. And then Richard was like, see ya. I'm going to be Time Magazine, People Español's editor-in-chief, which is like the biggest job ever. And I was like, damn, I got to write this myself. I was like, wow. So I started researching and all different types of fitness books and everything else. And the first book took me like 10 months. And then once you're done, you give it to an editor to clean it up. Mm-hmm. But then writing skills got better I was doing 4 custom magazines, 4.5 million magazines went out for women, for men. And all the articles that came in, I had to read for legal and for claims and for just, if they were good or not. So I started building up even better skills then. And then, it was off to the races. But at the first time that magazine came out, I wrote 81 pages of it.
Wow, that's crazy. Do you find that because I have this well, let's see what your answer is before I say I have a similar challenge. Do you find that people underestimate your intellectual writing skills because of your physique?
I had this. We're allowed to curse?
Yeah, man.
I had this asshole. He was like, I'll tell you that. He was, I'm not going to say his name, but he was in the World's Strongest Man kind of. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He was a big dude. He was like, 6'7", 300 something pounds. And I was in the gym and we were at some trade show, whatever. And he's like, tell me about your book. What's the message in it? I said, well, the message is it's a 3-prong attack. It's nutrition, it's training, and it's motivation. Because if you're not properly motivated, the other 2 aren't worth anything. He's right. Like, who wrote it for you? I go, I did. He goes, yeah, sure. And then I lost it on him. I was like, fuck you. And we almost came to blows in the middle of the gym until somebody grabbed my arm. I was ready to hit him, and my friend grabbed my arm, and he's like, bro, do you know he's 6'7", 300 pounds? And I was like, so what? I'm 250. I said, but it was funny, but people always underestimate you because you're a model. First, you're a bodybuilder, which right. Everybody stupid, number one. Exactly. And then you're a model, which then everybody thinks you're even stupider. Ever, and you got, the stupidest person on earth. But that's just too. Even now, it's like I have a book I'm working on now. It's going to come out next January. It's coming out, and it's really a next step of everything I've written. And I'm still going to get the same thing. Oh, who wrote that? Who did that? And it's like, I wrote all these columns. I wrote all of these books. I had to write a book for Home Shopping Network. When I had a Metrics infomercial, the 180, I owned part of it. I designed all the workouts, everything. And they're like, we need a motivational book. And I'm like, oh, really? They're like, yeah, we're going to give like $40,000, $50,000 for it. I'm like, we want to put it in a package. I'm like, I'll do it. I wrote it in 11 days. I was watching football every time I wrote it. In 365 more. Home Shopping Network, I designed this fitness disc. They're like, you need 2 companion books for it. I'm like, all right. When do we have? Like 3 months. I banged out 2 books. Like, I'm better with goals. Like, right. I'm a strict goal and timeline. That's how I operate. If you tell me, Frank, let's collaborate on a workout program together. And you don't give me a date, that thing will be lost in the wind. But if you say, yo, man, we got to get this done by like June 1st. You bang it out. That's just the way. Like, it's like when people have, I got to write it down too. But I'm always been underestimated. Even in these, man, I've been with so many brands, Mark. It's like metrics and And I've consulted for like some big companies like Performix and other companies. And you basically sitting in a boardroom with people who like to talk. They've never been in a gym. And they're like, if this nutrition company, let's say Metrics, if Metrics was a car, which would it be? And you're like, what? Is it a sports car? And then I remember doing a photo shoot in the gym, and they had hired this huge company, and they're like, they had Marcus Haley, who's a jack guy. I don't know if you know him. Body.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice guy, amazing poser. They're like, and the guy comes in the gym. He's got skinny jeans on, and I'm like, oh man. He's like, I never been in one of these. I'm like, one of these what? He's like, I'm like, dude, seriously? You like, okay? He's like, you know, it'd be cool. I'm like, no, what? Let's put some chains on Marcus. I was like, what? So
funny.
Just the level of stupidity who people who put you down because you're a bodybuilder is like,
yeah.
Know, it's up there. So it, that,
I mean,
just,
yeah.
And I don't want to on a tangent, but it just
no. It's good. It's good because you know, there is a bias and people don't realize. You know, it's very hard to, when you look a certain way or when you're good looking, it's very hard to conduct business because people automatically assume that you don't have anything in between your head, in between your ears, because you got some muscles or you have a certain look. So, you know, I experience the same things. I'd be going to companies, record companies, marketing companies, like, hey, I'm doing this, and that. I want to start an artist development division within it. What are you doing? You lifting weights? You can't do that. Or why do you write a book? Same type of thing. You know, you work out. What are you talking about? Yeah. So, you know, when I came out here to the Netherlands, I was very intent on just presenting myself as a corporate training, a corporate wellness professional. Not fitness, not my client roster, but just trying to come into a different way. Because I see sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you. But it's definitely a bias when you're trying to do other things that other than physical. When you're muscular,
it's such a bad double standard stereotype. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you get like, you know, I was talking to somebody the other day, like, you know, celebrities. Now you train, like, you get a celebrity who's grossly overweight and they're like, oh, they're beautiful, they're fine, they're amazing. Then they lose weight and they're celebrated. Then they lose weight and then like, wow, they're celebrated. Like, we're never celebrated. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
He's thirsty. He's taking his shirt off. Like he's thirsty.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like when someone else goes on Instagram, right? And let's say they're a doctor, right? They're showing their patients or they're talking about what they can do. If you're in fitness, you know, or you're a personal trainer, you're showing your physique because that is pretty much your body of work. Not the fact that you're trying to say you're better than anybody else, but I think because most, especially in the States, so many people are out of shape and deconditioned. There's an immediate resentment when you see someone fit, regardless. You know what I mean?
I took my son to karate, and I was sitting next to these guys, and the guy goes, "You're very intimidating." I'm like, "Why? I'm a nice guy." They're like, "Oh, you go to the gym," and I'm like, "Yeah, lots of people go to the gym." Like, what?
Yeah, it makes people mad. It makes people mad before you even get started. And, you know, I felt like I miss out on a lot of genuine interactions with people because sometimes the muscle, it throws them off because they have an issue with the way they look. So it's hard. It makes it harder to connect, especially when I was a lot bigger.
The hypocrisy is like so bad. Like, I remember dating this girl and she was like, wow, your Instagram, you got your shirt off. I'm like, well, I said, well, I am. It's hard to push all the products that I'm trying to sell and the workouts and stuff if I don't show them the result. I said, I'm here to inspire, not expire, but there's a reason for it. And why do you like all these girls' photos and pictures? What's wrong with you? Or were you trying to get attention? I'm like, no, they're actually friends of mine from the industry.
Right.
And if you don't interact with them, and then your engagement will go down, and they're actually trying to sell stuff too. So it's like a fitness family, and they're like, and then they'll put up a picture of themselves, like you said, like they'll put up a picture in a bikini or this or that, but they'll, you know, they might have another job where they're a writer or this or that, and they're like, oh, that's okay because now I'm not there. I'm like, well, some of these bikini competitors are doctors and lawyers. Don't get fooled.
Don't get it twisted. Yeah,
I'm like, what are you thinking? And then they're like, oh, and then you have all these people liking you and this and that. I'm like, oh my God. So it's really, it's difficult.
People sleep on they sleep on all kinds of people based on what they look like, and in my personal training career, I went through a lot of phases, and I maybe went through a 2-3 year phase where I was just training exotic dancers. I got hot with one, I got one in good shape. And I went through the exotic dancer. So I was training a bunch of girls as scores. If you guys are from New York, you already know. And let me tell you, man, I was training these girls. Oh, I have my master's degree in business. Oh, I have my da. I'm just using this money to invest. I have my stockbroking degree. I get the straight cash and I get the tips from the guys. These girls, multimillionaires, advanced degrees, multiple degrees, and dancing. So, it was a real, I already knew what it was, but it just reinforced the fact that you should not judge people on the way they look. You just think because someone looks some way, but you have no idea what's in between their head and what's in their heart, more importantly.
We probably have like identical. I trained a lot of the girls from Scores lived in Long Island, so they traveled to Manhattan, and I would train at Francis Gym. So there'd be like 4 blonde girls in short skirts, and like, they come in and everyone's like, oh my God, look at these girls and this and that. Oh, and then the women are looking at them like, look at these whores, look at them. And I'm like, you see that girl over there? Yeah, with the implants. I'm like, how many people you have implants? You're gonna point out. I'm like, yeah, a lot of people have. Yeah, her. You know what she did with her money? No, what? Buy more bigger implants? I'm like, no, she just bought 6 houses. And she's
real estate, killing it. These girls, killing it. I'll be looking at giving me tips like, you should do this, Mark, with your money. You should do that. You can't, it's so funny how we judge people on appearance based, but you never know. And let me tell you, those Scores girls, you give them a diet, they're focused. You give them a workout plan, they kill it in the gym. They were very, very, some of the most focused group of clients that I've ever had, who really put it into the gym and really went hard.
Their bodies are their business. That's
yeah.
I was in the gym the other day, and there was this guy, and he's a big fat guy. Let's not even sugarcoat this. And he's like, I know a guy, and I'm like, I just looked at him. He's like 3 times your size, and he was doing like 1,000 pounds 10 times. What are you shooting for that Instagram thing? And now I'm at the I'm just like, whatever, dude. I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah, and I'm on director of media development for like, I just walked away. Like, if it was 20 years ago, I would have threw a plate at him,
So
but
crazy.
It's just
what do you like about the fitness industry, and what do you dislike about the fitness industry?
So I've been in the fitness industry since I'm 19.
Pioneer.
19 years old.
And how old are you now?
51.
Okay.
So I did that. So I got in that. So I like that there's a lot of opportunity and it never ends. People think you got to come in, like in the beginning, it was like, come in, you got to compete, or this, that, you got to train celebrities, and that's it. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Like, you can evolve into different things. There's a lot of different things you can do. You got to stop watching everybody else. It's like my friend Juan Morel is a cookie dealer, right? He made this cookie, and everyone's like, oh my God, he's doing a cookie. Do you know how many cookies there are on the shelves? Guy's killing it with millions of dollars, millions with his cookies. And now everybody's like, so workout routines, products, everything. There's always room for innovation and no matter how old you are, to do things. Like, I'm doing things this year that I've never done before that I'm looking forward to. I have a nutritional food product coming out. And
can you talk about it now? Can you mention it now? Or is it?
It'll be out in 8 weeks. I'm like,
okay.
There's so many, forget it. But it's going to be in like 6 countries, and I'll sure send you some. But I like the fitness industry because if there was no fitness industry, I would still work out. You know what I mean?
It's in you.
It's my mental therapy. It's my physical therapy. I don't want to be my accountant's like, when I was 25, she's like, what are you going to do? Train for your life every day. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to train forever. Like Arnold was on a podcast with Jake Paul, and he goes, why do you still go to the gym? And he's like, because I love it. So I love training. I love setting goals for myself. Like, that's what I love about it. Like, you take your body. I was 255 this summer. I went a little crazy. I got bigger, and now I'm 240. I want to get down to 225 in 10 weeks, and I'm going to shoot with like 8 photographers. Top guys.
And how tall are you?
6'2".
Okay. Yeah, same as me.
Yeah. So I want to like do that, and I want to do a whole bunch of things. Like, I'm actually getting a new tattoo right here too, because I'm tired of people like, is that an old picture? Is that a new picture?
Yeah. Get the tat. Yeah.
So that's what I love about the fitness industry, that you know, that you can always evolve no matter how old you are to do things. And like, people that that were 20 years older than me when I came in are still killing it now, like 𝙬𝙤𝙧𝙧𝙀𝙀 and all these guys.
Yeah.
And stuff. What I don't like about the fitness industry is I don't like the social media fitness influencers who are complete assholes, who just put out bullshit information and
There's a lot of that.
And try to, you know, tell you that one form of exercise, like, just numerous guys will try to correct your form like when we do the sleeveless workout show for Muslim Fitness, Don Saladino and I, we have these
great
guys,
show, by the way.
Oh, these guys challenging, like, oh, you know, you're swinging your bicep curls, and then you look these people up and they look like shit. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I hate that people have to try to be smarter than you or try to put you down to make themselves look better. That's what I don't like about the fitness industry. I don't like certain aspects of the fitness industry because it's run by people who have never been in the gym,
right?
And think that they're smarter than everyone else when they don't have a clue what they're doing. I know you've experienced that as well.
Yeah. Well, if you're in the game long enough as a trainer, or you're in the fitness industry, you learn that, you know, number one, all of these exercises cycle in and cycle out.
Yeah.
If you're doing it long enough, you know, stuff phases. Now, you know, it's like CrossFit. There's plenty of people, you know, doing functional training before CrossFit came out, but the guy was smart enough to call it CrossFit, trademark it, and really make a product out of it. Kudos to him. But guess what? People have been doing that way before CrossFit was even invented. Right.
Rocky won. Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, so if you're in it long enough, you realize what the marketing part is and what the actual training. All of these exercise strategies are just tools in your toolbox to use to get yourself or get your client in the best shape. There's no one thing that's absolutely better than the other thing. And this is the part that frustrates me with the fitness industry, because, you know, the CrossFitters, oh, you're working 2 body parts out in an hour. Oh my God, what are you doing? You're not doing muscle ups with squats? My God, what's happening? Yeah, you know, so you got to understand it. And I just look at people like, you know, if you're doing it long enough, you know, there's advantages and disadvantages to every form of training, you know, and the journey is learning.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
I was in hot yoga, and I was there for the first time. Like, I was like 12 years ago. I was in there, and this woman comes up to me. She goes, "This is a lot harder than lifting weights, isn't it?" And I'm like, well, if I if I gave you a squat bar right now, made you squat in this, for an hour, you'd probably throw up too.
Right.
I don't like workout snobs and telling you that one form of fitness is better than the other. I think everything has a benefit. But it's funny how, like you said, everything's redone and brought out. It's like acid wash jeans, waiting for those to come back. It's like they'll change everything. 10 sets of 10 or 8 sets of 10 is now 7 sets of 10 to 12. It's like, everything is recycled and remarketed,
And people just not keeping it real. Like yoga instructors, you motherfuckers lift weights. Stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
You body weight guys, you bar guy, you motherfuckers lift weights. Stop it. You might be telling your clients something else, but in real life, people lift weights because there's certain muscles you can't target, or you need to focus on the little muscles that you're going to need isolated resistance for. Just on an injury prevention level. So it's so crazy to me that whole I'm only doing this, I'm only doing that, I'm only doing this. It all goes together, man. Synergy.
I had a discussion with this guy once. He's a complete jerk, but I was like, He's like, weights are a waste of time. I go, really? I go, riddle me this, Batman. I'm like, why are there every gym in the world have weights in it? Why does every college sports, pro sports, whether it be in the world, soccer, football, basketball, all have weights in it? Why do cardiac rehab centers have weights in it? Why do hotel gyms have weights?
Yeah, have weights in it. And you always hear the same story, right? They always tell the same story. Well, I used to lift weights, but now I just use body weight. I used to lift weights and now I only do yoga. Well, how do you think you got the foundation to be able to do that stuff you're doing now? How did you get that bone density? It was from the weight training that you did in the past. So, you know, just on the injury prevention level, the foundation and bone density that you get from resistance training will serve you well in any other athletic endeavor you try to get into. And I don't think people understand that part of it.
Even if you go into prison, you're lifting weights.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, you run across all of them. Like, you know, I take parts of different systems. Like CrossFit at this age is not my thing. Like I'll train with Don and stuff and we'll do certain movements that I'm not comfortable with. Like, I think you get in a groove of what works for you and you know what's going to work and you know that you're not going to really excel by doing certain things. Like there's certain kettlebell movements that I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to do this. It's like, you know, like
right.
movements. And then, but I see the benefit of it, but not for me, the way that my body is working, the ebb and flow of my body. So certain things I won't do. Like I won't run long distances because I tore both meniscus and, you know, my knees and hips. I'm just not a person who benefits a lot from that. I won't, but I will walk. I will do, you know, trails and stuff like that. I'll do hill. But I see the benefit of it. I'm not like
right. You're not against it, right?
I see it works.
Right.
I see Usain Bolt doing sprints.
Yeah.
So I know it works.
Yeah, you know, there's some benefit to it. Yeah, so the way people look at fitness, you know, especially, but I think Instagram has a lot to do with influence in that as well, because it's turned into what exercises are most visually stimulating as opposed to what exercises are actually more effective. And I think it's very confusing for someone who's just getting into fitness or trying to get in shape to really understand the difference, because you see some stuff on Instagram and like, oh shit, this guy did this and the other, and it's visually stimulating, but you know, you may not want to try that yourself.
You know what the new trend is now? Like a lot of, I train at an LA, I train a lot of different places, but LA Fitness I go, it's like 5 minutes from my house. And you see women, they train legs every day.
Yeah,
Squats, hip thrusts, stiff legged dips, and they got crazy legs. Like they got great development in their legs. So you have trainers who have no legs come up to them and be like, you know, you shouldn't train your legs every day. And they're like, they look at their legs, like, look at my legs, look at your legs. And that's what I say too. Like when I was a kid growing up in the basement, I didn't have all this stuff. And I trained chest probably 4 days a week and biceps because I didn't know any better.
Right.
Who am I to tell a 𝙘 𝙘𝙬, a Lee Haney, a Jay Cutler, a Dorian Yates, all these top bodybuilders, or Usain Bolt or like one of these football players, what to do and what not to do? What works for you works for you.
For you, You know, especially 𝙘 𝙘𝙬, you know, he would be doing shit for hours. Movements.
I tried to do his workout a couple
crazy
of times.
volume, long amount of time, man. But lightweight, but still, it's crazy though.
He did like eight sets, then 8 sets of 10 to 12, sets of 10 to 12, 8 sets. Like he was like 30 sets for chest, but the big thing was 1 hour straight of abs.
Yeah, twisted.
I lose my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy. 𝙘 𝙘𝙬, man. Yeah, that guy did a heavy volume, man, and tiny waist. It worked for him.
He looked great he looked the same as he got older too.
Yeah, as he got older. Yeah. He maintained his physique definitely.
They're like,
what's your favorite? Oh no, go ahead. Go for it.
Club Metrics, and I was doing chest, and at the time it was probably like 270, and I did like 40 sets of chest. And in the gym at the same time was Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman and I were friends. He worked for Metrics. and he's over there and he's squatting, and then he's got 600, 700, 800 pounds on there, whatever he's doing. And in the time that I trained, 40 sets of chest, maybe he did 5 sets of squats. Now, he by far is the GOAT of bodybuilding. Should I walk over there and go, according to the American Heart Association and the NASM and the ISSA certifications, you really shouldn't be taking 20 minutes in between each set. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, I think when it comes to being a trainer or a coach, that they should have a good plan, but what works for them, obviously customized, but it's more of the personality. You have to have the personality to gel. And you know as well as I do that 99 out of 100 people don't have the skills to adapt their person. More than that, I would say. They don't have the skills to adapt their personality to others and to motivate them. They think that yelling at them,
right,
screaming at them to do a rep is the way to go, or belittling them somehow, or even ultra kindness. You gotta figure out
what's the balance.
Yeah. Otherwise, if I go into a training center, you're like, Frank, can you train one of my clients? And I take your client, and I'm like, let's go! I start screaming at him at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Like, don't you ever, I remember I had a TV psychic that I couldn't train anymore, a very popular psychic, and I gave him to a friend of mine who was a trainer, and he touched him. And I said, and he's like, I can't train with him. I go, why? He goes, his energy. He just, he was touching me. He just has bad energy. And I told the guy before I'm training, I'm like, give him his space. He likes to train. Don't touch him.
Don't touch him.
Don't be like, good job, great job,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's different personalities, and a good trainer, you definitely have to adapt to the person that you're working with. What are your let me hear your top 5 old school bodybuilding physiques?
Oh man, so I'm tall, like I'm 6'2", so I can never get into those short bodybuilders because I just couldn't. They weren't my thing. I couldn't resonate with them. I'm like, yeah, he's short. Who cares? Like I was like, But my number one bodybuilder that I liked, I thought had the greatest physique was Lee Haney. And
tiny waist, man.
Tiny waist. There was a picture of him in jeans on Manhattan Street with the smoke coming out, and he had the waist and the
all you see is the lats coming out. Yeah, his back was crazy. Yeah, Lee Haney.
And I'm biased because I met him, and he was just one of the nicest guys I ever met in my life. Like, just a great guy. I interviewed him at the last year's Arnold, and he texted me from now on out. Like, so that was my number one. Number 2 was a Barry DeMay, who was a good-looking guy.
The flexing Dutchman. Yeah, man.
He was 6 foot. Vice thing with him and Tony Pearson in the ad.
Oh yeah, Pearson. Jetman. Yeah, the lats, man.
Yeah. Third was Flex Wheeler.
Oh yeah. Now, the symmetry.
I cherish our friendship too. He's a great guy. I just talked to him the other day. Every kid growing up liked Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was the thing. Like Arnold was the pump and iron.
Right. Yeah. The prototype, really.
That guy had a sick physique. And then I guess 5th would be who I think was Phil Heath. I thought Phil Heath had an incredible physique and took on all comers. Like, he was great. And he's a good friend of mine too. So I've been blessed to be in the industry where I've shot with, I think I put it up on Instagram. I had pictures with every single Mr. Olympia since Lee Haney. It was Lee Haney, Samir Bannout,
wow.
Every single one of them.
That's cool.
6 years, Dorian Yates.
You trained with Dorian? How was that? Mr. High Intensity, right?
Dorian Yates came into Bev Francis gym 2 to 3 weeks before the Olympia to get used to our time zones because he's from the UK. So he trained with Steve Weinberger, and I used to train with Steve Weinberger, owner of the gym. So he's like, Frankie, and I was 21, 22, so I was like 275. And I was like, you want to train with Dorian? I was like, hell yeah. He was quiet, and they used to do the Mike Menza routine, like that's what I read.
Heavy duty, yeah, that's where it came. So
I'm preparing myself from the volume guy to heavy duty. So I'm like, all right, I got to prepare myself for this, but I'm going to get to train with Dorian. But they did like 20 warm-up sets before they got to the thing.
Right, to the one working set, right.
Yeah, so I'm like, call it what you want. We did leg presses. We did, I mean, he was doing like 20 plates. I mean, the guy was just phenomenal. But we worked up like 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 plates.
So it ended up being volume anyway.
I'm saying.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
He was so strong. Nice guy, really good. I just saw him at the Olympia this year at the Dark Sport booth. And I put the mic on him. I'm like, I'm here at the Dark Sport booth. He's like, what's up, Mr. Playboy? Frank.
It's so funny.
But,
and to see what he's doing now training-wise is quite interesting because I follow him on Instagram. He's on a whole different wave now.
Yoga. Yeah.
Yoga, meditation. Yeah.
He's totally. He's got the tattoo on the back. But I got to train with a bunch. I trained with him. I trained with Phil Heath. Trained legs with Phil Heath, and he was doing one-legged leg presses with like 7 plates on one side.
Wow.
Damn, I
Crazy.
trained with him. But yeah, I trained. I did a video shoot with Big Ramy. Big Ramy is the nicest guy in the entire world.
That's a big dude, boy. Wow.
Bro, he was like, the nicest guy. And then
super cool.
Yeah, so pretty much every single one of them
How's your training changed from being a youth to being 52 or 51 now? What kind of tips can you give the viewers now as you get older, physique-wise? And after that, my second question is, what are your goals now for your physique at 51, 52?
So, you know what? Like, when I first started training, I wanted to be the biggest bodybuilder in the world. You know what I mean? Like, well, actually, when I first started training, I was so friggin' skinny that I was like, I had that giant Adam's apple. I was skinny as hell. I had those legs, wear those like old Lakers, what do you call it? Boston shorts, those gym shorts.
Yeah. The big basketball short.
Had those stick legs sticking in there. So my first goal was to actually look like a human. That was my first.
Right.
Goal. And so I would hibernate every year. I would lift as heavy as possible. I would do 12, 10, 8, 6, 12. And then as I got a little more comfortable, it'd be like 4 reps, doubles, singles. And I would train, and like a groundhog, I would go in, and then like I'd come out. Like once I'd go in the whole winter. I had no friends. I was like 13, 14. I would just train. And then come out, would be like, damn. Yeah.
Jacked up, right?
So by the time I was 17, I was 225 naturally.
Wow.
And
Wow.
benching like 350. And then I went in school, there was this kid, he's from Jamaica. And I thought I was the man, benching 350. And he came in to our locker room and they're like, all right, we're going to have a bench off for football. 400 pounds like this. His name was Arnold too. And
wow, that's crazy.
Caribbean, and I'm like, he's like, I never really lift weights before.
Wow, that's good. Yeah, I know people like that. Just
I'm like, yeah. Your training evolves. Got ready to be a bodybuilder. You train like, you do the 2 body parts a week. You're training heavy. You're mixing in drop sets, strip sets, giant sets,
negatives, all kinds of stuff.
Also, then you're jumping into pre-contest, off season. This you're throwing different types of cardio, hit cardio in there. You're throwing long duration, low intensity cardio in there. And then as I got older and doing these infomercials, I started doing hot yoga. I started doing more running trails. I started doing higher rep sets. But I would always keep one compound movement in there where I trained heavy in my workout. This way,
right.
It was always a body part. But now, like, I got up to 250 something this past last summer, and Steve Weinberg he's like, do you know if you keep going? And he's the head judge in Olympia. He's like,
oh yeah,
if you keep going, he's like, I'm not even joking. He's like, you can go compete at that level. And I was like, I'd rather, slam my head in the draw, but no, I wouldn't.
Right. You're not into the pre-contest dieting anymore, right?
I'm too old. That ship is way past. But he's like, it was just a nice thing that he said. I'm sure it wasn't possible. It was just a nice thing he said. But now I'm getting I set goals for myself, and now I have to take pictures for my new book. So I'm thinking, how do I want to look, and how do I want to represent myself at 51 years old? Do I want to be this big guy? And like you said, automatically people are going to identify me as a meathead. That's
Right.
just the way it is.
This is how it goes. Yep.
I mean, when I did Home Shopping Network, I wasn't allowed to say the word muscle on air. I had to say tone. You know,
wow.
I was
Interesting.
And I looked at my Instagram. I went through my Instagram account, and I'm like, what pictures do I put up the most when I'm ripped? So I said, so what am I doing? I said, so
right.
myself, where I'm going to get as ripped as I possibly can in 10 weeks and shoot and put pressure on myself, where I'm going to get these photographers together, you know, spend the money for the, you know, for this and that, and the book project and the nutritional company I have coming out, and really put it to myself to do it, and somehow use the scale, but somewhere be between 225 and 230. So I started off 12 weeks out, I was 245. Currently I'm like 240 right now. But my goal is to get like beyond shredded. Like I want to get to a point where I've never been before, but not as a body. But just,
what body fat percentage you talking about?
I'm not even going to test it, and I'm not even
just going to look in the mirror.
I'm going to look in the mirror, and I'm going to do the pinch thing, you know?
Yeah. When that skin gets paper thin, then you're there.
Yeah. Rope mark, and if anything's jumping or moving, I know I'm not leaning.
I always go when I start looking like Skeletor and Beetlejuice, then I'm on the right track.
Whenever
combination.
When people start going, good, but you look like you're dying.
Yeah. Then I know I'm lean. Yeah, it's funny.
You weigh yourself. Like after my divorce, I got on the scale. I was 219. I never been 219. My adult life, I was 225 when I was 17, and I was lean, but I wasn't full. You know what I mean? I looked like, you know, I missed out a point. So I'm trying to find the balance right now, and I'm not going to stop. If I don't make it in 10 weeks, I'm going to keep going.
Right.
I'm not going to, but I'm just going to kind of, you know, I'm looking forward to this to see what. I hate when people go, how old are you? You know, or they try to put you down because of your age. Meanwhile, you look 55 times better than them.
And everybody's aging. It's inevitable. Like, well, it's so crazy. It's the craziest thing because you're going to be right there.
I'm like, no, how old are you? Oh, 51. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, let me roll in a ball and throw myself under a couch, you asshole. I'm like,
yeah.
I start getting better. You know what I mean? Like, people just don't know. People don't know how old you are, right? Like when they come to like,
they're like, oh wow, really? You're 52, but you can make gains and you can improve at any age. Like I don't really feel like there's nothing I couldn't do now that I wasn't doing back then. Really, you know, I just have to take. You know, the biggest thing is I have to warm up more. How about you? I feel like I really have to thoroughly warm up more, and I have to make sure I stretch more. Those are the two biggest things. But other than that, my performance, I don't really feel like I've had to do anything different.
I got to have a cup of coffee.
Well, I always was a big coffee drinker. Yeah. Anyway, so
and I got to warm up, and I got to have the right music. But I'm not. The only thing that I don't do, that I can't do, and I won't, is try to lift as heavy as I once did. I used to bench 40 pounds. A couple of times, and I was talking to Mike, and he's like, I saw you deadlift like 635 for reps in the middle of no belt, no straps. I'm like, yeah, now I'll use the Smith machine and be smarter with like 225. But yeah, man, I don't think there's anything that I just tell people, like, I go, you can get fatter, right, at any age. Like, yeah,
so you can give
But yeah, I can't wait.
What's your favorite music to go into when you hit the gym? What do you like to listen to?
It depends. If you go on my Instagram, you'll hear a lot of 80s, 90s R&B. You hear a lot of old hip hop. Like we had this discussion before. I grew up, I was one of two white kids in an entire black school. So up with EPMD, Run DMC, like I run like all the oldies. I used to work in an Italian deli. It was like a mixed neighborhood of, you know, everyone where the fat boys used to come in for ham and cheese sandwiches. And
wow. That's funny.
And And then like Dan Laurie was on the corner. My school was the second most violent school in America, in New York, and they had Dan Laurie on the corner, which was like a safe haven if you were gonna get your ass kicked.
No, that's funny.
Magazine. So I grew up with a lot of hip hop and 80s, 90s, even like Bismarcky, like all the
classic stuff, right? That's cool.
But I have like Biggie I would listen to, and then sometimes you come in and you're like, you got to listen to that that club music from what was that from what the hell, Sound Factory.
Oh yeah.
Club USA. So I'll listen to like freestyle music. It's Judy Torres. Like it depends on the day, but I'm like
right.
most R&B hip hop guy.
That's cool. The intro that's on this Anabolic Mind show. Chuck D is a friend of mine. I said, yo, man, why don't you put me on the album? So he actually put my intro on his album. So what you heard is actually on his latest album. So shout out to Chuck D for getting me on the record, because I have no rapping skills at all, but I got on the Chuck D record. So that's what's up, man.
Interviewed me at the Olympia, DJ Melly Mel.
Oh, he's Jack, man.
Yeah, we did. He did a whole interview with me. He cut it up, everything. Like
he looks great. How old is he?
I don't know how old he is, but he looks amazing, man.
He looks amazing, man.
He was training with Grimes, I think, in the gym not too long ago. But yeah, he's Jack, but he was cool. He's like, I remember you from the Metrics days. He's like, I was like,
yeah, I remember that too. You definitely an OG in the game, man. I must say, man, you've been everywhere and been consistent for so many years. What's the best advice you can give to a up and comer?
As far as training,
and just making their way in the industry.
One of the biggest things that I always, whether it was a magazine cover, whether it was an opportunity to be on TV, man, if you have to have something, you have to have a plan, you have to have something to sell. So
right,
like me, if I was on magazines or if I was going to do a show with that, I would sell my training, like I'm a trainer. But that being said, you always have to be prepared. You got to represent your brand the right way. So if you want to be a fitness influencer, you want to be a trainer, you want to be a coach, then look the part all the time. Don't give me this shit that you're on your off season for 5 years because you couldn't get cut in a knife fight. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
And you should be in shape all the time. You don't have to be to the point where you're walking around 2% fainting, but you need to represent.
People should know that you're that you're a trainer. I agree.
Look, if we're at a party and you're telling me like, guess what I am, and I have to go in number 15 on the list as trainer coach, then something's wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just like, I think you should look the part, and the big thing is stay humble. Like even at this age, I train, like I do the Sleeveless show and I do a whole bunch of other shows for Muscle and Fitness Olympia. I'm training with Jacqueline Baker's fitness Olympia second place this week. Andre Ferguson, he's 17 pro shows. Like I have the opportunity to train with these people and I learn something every time. I'm not one of these guys, I know everything, let's do it my way. I'll try your way, and sometimes
be open.
I learn something like, wow, or I forgot it. You know what I mean? Like, oh right. Yeah. What we do some crazy. Oh, the other day we did this exercise, the reverse shoulder press. I'm like, damn, I haven't done those since like
a long time. Yeah, right.
Yeah, like those are good. Like, but that's the thing, man. Check your ego at the door and don't try to be smart on everybody. Just try to be yourself. Be you. Don't be like everybody else. Like I remember when Greg Plitt was out and he was doing his motivational thing and cursing and doing the black and white and the slow motion. Everybody was trying to do it. And it was just like, man, it's so played out. Be you, man, because you don't, number one, you're not an ex-military guy. Number two, you don't look like you could punch your way out of a paper bag, and you never had a fight in your life.
Right, in your life, right. Yeah, just be real about it.
Be real.
Where'd you meet Rob Wilkins at?
Rob Wilkins, I met. Rob Wilkins is my military podcast partner. He's in the Air Force for 26 years. Rob's wife used to compete in fitness, and Rob was always
who I used to work with in Reebok Sports Club, Amy.
Yeah,
That's how we met.
Rob worked for the Weeders. So when I was at Mr. Olympias or whatever, I saw Rob all the time. So I just kind of struck up conversations with him, and we always talked and we were friendly. And then, you know, he told me about the military, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to help. And, you know, we have a bunch of shows planned in the next couple of weeks, and we're supposed to do some stuff from the, with the Pentagon and a lot of different things. So he's just a great guy. You know, I think he
is a great guy. That's why I asked you the questions. I just wanted to give a shout out to Rob because he's the one who connected you and I, in fact.
Yeah. You know, like Chef Rush too. Chef Rush.
Mm-hmm.
When you have people that are passionate about something, and you know, I don't know, I like those type of people who are passionate and real about things. Like he's real about fitness for the military. Chef,
right.
Like doing 1,000 push-ups every day, you know, and stuff. Like, I don't know. I just like people like that. I don't like fake people. Like this, a lot of people come up to me and want to collaborate with stuff, or they want to start brands, and I'm like, go kick rocks. I don't want anything to do with you. I know where you're coming from. Like I could size somebody up in 15 seconds now, and I'm like, full of shit, and I don't want anything to do with them. You know, like, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's that New York radar. You can sense the bullshit from a mile away.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, but I'm working with the Dutch military here, who thank you so much, you guys, because they came through for me. The Dutch Navy, when they heard about my injury, man, they came through immediately, hooked me up with some work and all kinds of stuff. But I want to do a Dutch Navy versus the U.S. Navy fitness challenge. So I'm gonna get with Rob. We're gonna work on that. So I'm talking to these guys right now to see if we can just motivate each other across seas. Because you know, as a veteran and being in the Navy myself, you know, that isolation sometimes gets you gaining weight. So I think if we get like across, you know,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Get a challenge going and we guys can support each other. I think that's going to be cool. So I'm going to get to Rob on that one as well. So that should be fun. We're going to do Navy versus Navy.
You know what? Rob's going to be like, what about Air Force?
yeah. Rob's the Air Force guy. Yeah, he's the Air Force guy.
Air Force. But yeah, he's a good guy. And he's got like, you know, we're trying to help, you know, with people that the military's at an all-time low for people trying to, you know, sign up and everything else.
Yeah, and you know, that's globally, man. It's interesting. And out of the navies worldwide have the highest obesity rate and the highest suicide rate because of the isolation at sea. And I just thought it was a United States thing because I've worked with the Navy in the U.S. as well. But it's I came here to find out it's the exact same thing, and it's happening in everybody's Navy. So it'd be cool to get everybody's military, and also for relations too, with different countries. You know, we don't have to be fighting each other. We could all support each other to get in shape at the same time. And maybe that'll set an example for the rest of the world, I'm hoping. So it turned into something a little bit cooler.
Remember like those old martial arts movies, like Enter the Dragon, where they have the big courtyard? You have each guy, come out in the middle and then
It'd be like an inter-country fitness battle. Who can get the freshest?
We got to get Bob Gold to pay for that, to executive produce that.
That might be that might be something cool. But you know what I want to see? Speaking of fighting, I'm looking to see that John Wick 4. That last John Wick. Have you saw it?
Oh my God, I saw it. Yeah, my son put that picture up. I put it on Instagram on my story. He put John Wick's whole hair and beard on me. It was the best one out of all of them.
Some of the best fighting scenes, right, ever, right? Record. That's what I hear. I can't wait to see that John Wick. This is gonna be crazy.
I think 50 Cent said this more than like he was like, this is an incredible movie too, because I saw he said, but he just like it was 2 hours and 40 minutes of like nonstop action. And he's 58.
Crazy. And he's in good shape, Keanu, man.
He used to walk around Manhattan, and like I saw him a couple of times. He's right.
Yeah, I've seen him in the city before, just on a train, chilling by himself.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. And meanwhile, you had one celebrity came into Bev's gym, and they had a private room, and she took the bike out and put it in the middle of the gym and surrounded herself with security.
Wow.
Why?
Why? Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Why?
You put the right vibe in. Like I've seen Keanu in the gym with his trainer training, and you know, he's just hi to everybody. Hello, how are you doing? You know, no big deal. And then because he's so chill, he chills everybody else out. It's all about the energy that you put out. So I've seen him. I don't know him, but I've seen him around the gym a couple of times, and I like the way he handles himself. You know, very humble guy, super cool.
That's why someone gives you a, you know, like trainer asked me, he's like, you know, how do you get celebrities and stuff? And I'm like, well, if you do get one, and it could either be a blessing or it could be the worst thing that ever happened to you. He's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I go, because there's a huge chance that you guys aren't going to gel, and he's going to dictate to you what he's going to do and how many days he's going to. But the studio and everyone else is going to be mad at you because you're the one who's responsible for him. For
getting him in shape. Yeah, they're very high pressure jobs. People don't realize, you know, training celebrities, because especially if they're getting in shape for a project, it's super high pressure, and everybody's, here's a drink, here's a drug, here's a this. You're fighting against the whole team. Sometimes when you come into the situation.
I trained one guy and he lost 50 pounds, but not for my training because he was on cocaine. They're like, great job, Sepe. I'm like, wasn't me.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, people with the artists, but that's gonna be another podcast where you got to be like, hey, give me all the drugs you're taking right now. I need to see everything.
Yeah,
they're like, they'll have the same shit from 5 different doctors. Like, no, you can. I said, how about we just do this and this one so you can stay alive, not this one and that one. Sometimes you got to go to the lesser evil, but that's a whole different podcast.
The Matrix. Take the blue pill, then take the red pill.
Yeah. The celebs are a whole different animal, but sometimes when you get the right one and the right project and they're very focused, it can be an incredible. Like when I did D'Angelo for the Untitled video.
Yep,
that was a great example. You know, he was the right one with his focus. They had the right visual concept for the video. You know, everybody was bought in, and you know, 60 days we were able to make something special happen. So those are also great experiences. Or getting Diddy to run the marathon. So it all depends on the celeb that you're working with. But sometimes it can be definitely crazy, and it can be dangerous. You know, you're training somebody who's got $2 million worth of jewels on at any given time. So
yeah,
so you know, it could be dangerous on that level too, because you're a target hanging out with them. I remember many years I had the hip hop police following me as soon as I left my house, just because I was training rappers. So they were detailed on me. So I was leaving cops following me all the time, every day.
I had the John Edward, the crossing over TV psychic, and I'm training him, and people were coming up to me and said, listen, you know, my daughter, my son died. I'll, you know, give him 15, 20,000 if he does a reading for me. I want to speak to them. And I was like, he doesn't deviate from his list. He just, you know, what am I going to do? And they're getting offended. And I'm like,
yeah.
Now they
think you got more power than you actually have. Yeah.
I'm standing between them and speaking to their dead relative.
yeah. Or the tickets. I'm like, dude, I don't have that type of juice. I can't get you front row tickets and meet and greet. And I can't do that, bro. they got a million people asking them who are related to them for tickets, bro. So, you know, it's a whole thing.
I was in a steakhouse last summer, and this guy was like, yeah, man, I'm big fan. I want to go to the universe. I've never been to a bodybuilding show. I really want to go. It's in Jersey. You know, I want to take my son. I said, you know what? I'll get you. How many tickets you need? He goes, 14.
Crazy. Like, yeah. 14. It's like, yo, you just a trainer. It's crazy.
I was like, so I got him. I got the 14 tickets for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even show up.
Oh man, that's messed up. He didn't even show up. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's for the Universe bodybuilding show. I'm like, you know, I work for the companies and stuff. Like at the time, I'm like, you know, tickets like $100 a piece. I think I got free dessert.
So hey man, we've been on for over an hour. I appreciate you coming on, man. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just want to end it on what's your best advice for guys over 50, my age, want to work out, stay in shape, and look like you? You know, what can you say to them? And I want you to tell people how they can get at you and get involved with your newest projects.
Look, man, if someone like you've been in the game, you know how to get in shape, you know how to do your thing, you know, like easy, you're always in shape. But I tell people if they're just starting out at 50, do not try some championship routine, some crazy routine, advanced, because you're not going to be able to wipe your ass after you're
Right.
done. And don't find a trainer whose whole MO is, man, wasn't that an intense workout? Because you're never going to go back. Pick out something, find a workout, do your due diligence, find a sensible routine that's customized for you, and go it stage by stage on a slow climb up. It took you 50 years to be out of shape. You're not going to get in shape in a week or 2 weeks. So slow down. Don't go cold turkey on your food. Slowly move in a positive direction. Start having good habits. And then once you reach a certain point, then, get a higher goal, a better goal. But don't start off with the goal of being, I want to look like Brad Pitt in a Fight Club. Like, bro.
Yeah. Manage your expectations.
Yeah, man. And let your body get acclimated to working out. Don't go and start doing 1 rep stuff and whatever, and start working out 3 days a week at first. You know the deal, Mark. It's like, just slow down,
Right.
Slow. But for me, they can go to
That's what's up. Yep.
Frank,
What's the IG?
Yeah, Frank_SEPE, Sepe. That's where you can find me. And then, I'll have in another couple of weeks, I have the sleeveless workout program on there, which is a collaboration with 𝙑𝙬𝙧𝙠 who trains all the Avengers. We have
I didn't know that. He trains the Avengers, huh, Don?
Yeah, Don trains Ryan Reynolds, Sebastian Stan. He trains a bunch of them.
Nice, man.
Yeah, and we collaborated on a 90-day program that's for sale on 𝙑𝙬𝙧𝙠 or on my Instagram. Click it. It's a combination of performance, bodybuilding movements, 90 days, get you shredded, get you in good shape. That's a good one. And then in another couple of weeks, I'll have a ton of stuff up on my page. But go to Frank_Sepe. Sure.
Hey, man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on, man. And I definitely appreciate you hitting me up with my injury and the support on real life, man. I thank you so much, bro.
Thank you. And I'll have you on my podcast in a couple of weeks, and then we'll see how you're progressing. And then I'll be in touch with you anyway.
All right. Looking forward to it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for viewing. Peace and love, folks. Listen to the advice and watch your diet. Check out Frank on all his ventures coming up, and peace and love.